There was some other glasses I had on. It's,
Yeah, I know. Just let her know. Go.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's my privilege to call us to order today for this special meeting of the Board of Directors. And we will have a Pledge of Allegiance led by our Volunteer of the Month.
Raise the flag, if it is your tradition. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I put my right hand over my heart, if that is your custom. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for.
Well,
Excellent. Thank you so much. That was fantastic. We will have our roll call.
Director Andrade,
Here.
Oh, right, your hand.
Director Hodges,
Here?
Let's read the thing. Read it.
Oh, I'd like, for the record, I am participating remotely today due to a recent medical procedure. Could somebody hold their hand up? They heard me?
Yes. Thank you so much, Director Hodges.
Always love a wave.
Sure.
Director Hodges, Director Hatcher,
Here.
President Lamnon,
Here.
and Director Rosen notified us ahead of time that he could not participate at today's meeting. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody. And glad our technology is working so well. Thank you, team. And wishing you good recovery, Director Hodges.
Thank you.
And this meeting is being translated, so please speak at a moderate pace, enunciate clearly, and be sure to speak directly into the microphone. We will go on to recognizing our Volunteer of the Month, Rose Godfrey.
There we go. Okay, good afternoon, Board of Directors. I'm Daniela Kiefer, Senior Recreation Supervisor, and I'm here to do the Volunteer of the Month and introduce Miss Rose Godfrey. Rose, would you like to come up? Rose has been volunteering in our senior adult program for about 2 years now. She volunteers mostly at the Hayward Senior Center and volunteers in our senior lunch program. And that takes a lot of hard work. She's on her feet, setting up tables, welcoming guests, serving them, and cleaning up. So it takes a lot of work, and it's an essential service of our program. Not only is it a hot meal, and sometimes the only hot meal that seniors get, but it's a lot of socialization and support that people get there at the senior center. And without volunteers like Rose, we couldn't do that. Rose has been dependable these last 2 years. She's always on time and comes when she says. She's done over 280 hours just in 2 years. In addition, I see her at Kenneth Aiken Center at least 4 times a week and participating. So she knows not only how important it is to give back, but to enhance her own life by taking our programs and classes. She just told me she was a scout leader, so this is why she did the Pledge of Allegiance so well. And she's also been an active member of Key 3, which is a unit skier with the Scouts of America. So she's had a long career in education with Castro Valley Unified School District. And we're just very lucky to have you, Rose. And thank you very much. And I know James is sad he can't be here to thank you too. Thank you. Would you like to say anything?
I'll just say a quick thank you. I am also a customer as well as a volunteer. And I'm just privileged that I'm involved in this important program for seniors. This is, as you said, an opportunity for socialization as well as nutritious meals. So thank you. I'm honored.
Thank you. Oh, and I forgot to mention today at Hayward Senior Center, we had 70 seniors for lunch for our Valentine's luncheon there. So that was a really nice number and just showing what a big essential service we're offering. So thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, a photo?
Yes. Yes, so we're gonna do a photo and give you some good stuff. And go.
That's great.
Where do you want to go? Okay.
Oh, thanks.
Excellent. Before we continue our good stuff, I just want to make one more announcement about a couple agenda items, and I'll ask staff to make those announcements. Thank you.
Yeah. So we have to postpone 2 items on our agenda. We are postponing item 9.2 under new business, award of construction contract for the Bidwell Park and Community Center renovation project. And we're postponing to a future meeting. And we also are postponing item 9.3, award of contract for custodial supplies and delivery services with Imperial Dade West Coast. Again, to a future meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we'll keep folks informed as we learn more about those. Meanwhile, we'll go back to the agenda and look at our, yes, absolutely. Our municipal finance officer's budget award. Congratulations.
Yeah, CSMFO, a mouthful. California Society of Municipal Finance Officers, and this is the second year we're getting the budget award. I cannot take any credit for it. It's Natalie and Drew who are the main drivers for it, but we did get it. And this award is provided to public agencies that meet the evaluation criteria that is set forth by CSMFO. That's all I have.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, we have a lot to be proud of here at HARD, and I swear I carry the budget around with me quite often to show off what has happened over the last many years. And so the last 2 years of receiving this award is very powerful, and you can take all the credit you like, because when you become a part of HARD, you take on the history, good and bad, and this part of it is very good and very a proud way to show the district and our community what we do. And so thank you for presenting.
And I'd like to say, even though you didn't mention it, I think the reason why we got it because our budgets are so much more transparent and clear.
Yes, they have a whole bunch of criterias, and when they evaluate us, they give us points. I think there are about 40 odd of them, and so they even give us remarks and feedback which we have to improve the next year. So when we submit it next year, we'll have to address those.
Yeah.
But yes, we do meet that, and that's why we get that award.
It's sort of like an award that, you have to be in the business to kind of know, but it's really something because it's it makes it easier for everyone, including the public, to understand the budgets and how we do our jobs. So it's really appreciated.
Thank you. Congratulations again, and thank you for all that work, you and all of the team.
Madam
Yes, sir.
President, if I might, I would also really like to thank, and they're actually here tonight, which is amazing, so I can thank them personally, the finance staff over in the corner, who I'm glad isn't here to bring me up on HR charges. I really just want to thank you guys too. I've watched you work for years. You're dedicated, you work hard, and you're a big part of, this is an award for kind of telling the story, but you're the story. So thank you so much.
Thank you for highlighting, and thank you all for your work. Really appreciate it. Fantastic. Okay, and it is Black History Month.
It is. Thank you, President Lambden and Honorable Board of Directors. But before I share this, we did do an invite. We had a meeting switch, and so, but we will definitely share the proclamation following this. So I will go ahead and read that now. Whereas February 2026 marks the 100th anniversary of Black History Month, a national observance first established in 1926 to honor and recognize the history, achievements, and enduring contributions of the Black Americans. And whereas for a century, Black History Month has provided an opportunity to reflect on the resilience, leadership, creativity, and civic engagement of Black communities whose impact has shaped the United States and the state of California. And whereas Black Californians have played a vital role in advancing education, public service, the arts, sciences, business, athletics, and community development, enriching the cultural and civic life of our state and local communities. And whereas this year's national theme, A Century of Black History, commemorations honors the legacy of those who have paved the way for progress while inspiring future generations to continue building a more inclusive and equitable society. And whereas the Hayward Area Recreation and Park District is committed to fostering welcoming public spaces, equitable access to programs and services, and opportunities that celebrate the diverse histories and cultures that strengthen our community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Directors of the Hayward Area Recreation and Park District hereby proclaim February 2026 as Black History Month and encourage all residents, staff, and community partners to recognize and celebrate the lasting contributions of Black Americans throughout the month and beyond.
Absolutely. Yes, not just a one-time thing, but all year long. All right. Thank you very much. Any other items on those? Seeing none, we'll move on to public comments. Do we have any public comments?
We do not have anyone online for public comments.
Okay. I don't think anybody in the audience for public comments. So we'll move on along to our consent calendar, which is items 5.1 through 5.7. Any items that need to be pulled?
I want to pull 5.6.
Okay, 5.6. Anything else from? Yes, Director Hodges.
Yes, I'd like to pull 5.4 and 5.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I will be looking for a motion on 5.1 through 5.3 as well as 5.7.
I'll move 5.1 through 3 and 5.7.
Thank you. Do you have a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion or questions? Okay, we will go to the vote then.
Director Hodges, do you see a pop-up? There we go.
Okay, awesome. So that carries with all 4 members present. Great. So then we will move on to 5.4. Director Hodges.
Yeah, just a quick question on 4 was I can't pull up my
Director Hodges,
yes,
if you don't mind, you're interested in pulling 5.4, which is the task order for MAC 5 park restroom replacement projects?
yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
I just quick question, can any of the old bathrooms be reused for maybe tool sheds for the workers?
Director Hodges, this is Megan Tiernan, Capital Planning and Development Director. No, the buildings are very old and have outlived their useful life, so these are full replacements.
And they need to stay in the same place in most cases.
Yes, we're replacing basically the restrooms in this exact same locations they are now.
Okay, thank you. I was just hoping there was some reuse possible, but I understand.
No, we talked about earlier this week, Megan and she came to me and I was asking about this and she was telling me, I learned that sewer connections, water connections, electrical connections are all at the sites where the current restrooms are. So if we tried to relocate them, it would cost a lot more to do that. And so we can't use them for something else because we got to get rid of them and put a new one in.
Very good. I'd like to make a motion then to accept the staff's recommendation.
Okay, I have a motion to accept 5.4 as presented.
Second.
Thank you, and I have a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll go to the vote. Okay, and that passes unanimously. Thank you. 5.5, Director Hodges. This is the Stonebray field replacement.
Just a quick question about the fill material that we're going to be using, or Megan, we got that far?
We actually, the board did approve the field turf with cork infill as our desired product. So we've been using that for the Castro Valley project, partnership project. We used a blend of cork and olive. So we may look at that as an option too for Stonebray. Again, both of those are renewable and avoids the use of the rubberized materials.
Well, the two you talked about are good material. It's a lot better than the tire crumb, but the cork sometimes has it floats away. So I think the other one you mentioned might be a better. When I think, did you say something about the crushed seeds or shells?
Yes, olive pits is an alternative infill product.
Okay, good enough. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions on this item, or I'll look for a motion?
I'd like to make the motion to accept what the staff's recommendations was.
Okay, thank you, Paul. I have a motion. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote. Okay, and that passes unanimously as well. And 5.6, Director Hatcher, this is the budget change for the Shoreline Interpretive Center.
Thank you. No question about the funding change of the agreement, but the agreement between Weldon, could you just describe a little bit detail about what's happening in regards to painting? There's 24,000 in regards to painting and the property, and as I read it, I was just kind of I saw how all the rest of the features of the floors and everything. Just a little description on that. I just didn't have clarity on kind of what's happening regarding.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, President Lambden and Honorable Board of Directors, Adrienne Lee Bird, Director of Recreation Arts and Community Services. The painting for that building actually hasn't been done for 20 plus years, probably. Yeah. But we're basically prepping the lobby to be used as an exhibition space to talk about climate change and sea level rise. And so they're going to be painting the walls, and they go really high up. And then they're actually going to be putting new drywall.
Got it. Okay.
On them. Sorry, because right now it's like a wood. Like a natural wood type of wall, and so they're removing that and putting and drywalling it.
Got it. And that's really what I was looking, just the definition was, paint and apply finish, but I was like, the detail of like, it seemed like there's really more being done to that than just, okay, that was my clarity looking for. Thank you.
Any further discussion, or I'll take a motion?
I'll move 5.6.
Okay, thank you. And do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. All right, seeing no further discussion, I'll look for a vote. Thank you. And the motion passes unanimously. Thank you. With that, we move on to new business, which is the annual comprehensive financial report.
Good afternoon, honorable board members. Vika Nair, Finance Director. It takes me great pleasure to present our audited financials. We call it ACFR this time, Annual Comprehensive Financial Report, and our F1 report. We successfully completed this audit pretty earlier than last year, and there were two major milestones for this completion. The first is this is the first year of a full fiscal year from our new ERP system, and having no findings, that's like a big win for us. And the second is we are presenting an ACFR instead of the basic financials that you've been seeing previously. That's a significant step forward in transparency and reporting. The presentation will provide more details about the ACFR and the basic financials. But before I hand it over to our independent auditors, I would like to take this moment to recognize my finance team. Adrian calls it their Super Bowl, and the true heroes behind this achievement. They navigated an ERP implementation, they mastered a new software, they handled all end user challenges and complaints, and all with resilience and still smiling. So thank you. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Mitesh Desai, who is from Badawi and Associates.
Works. Okay. I'm being.
Is the picture on?
Set up here. All right. Hopefully everyone can hear me fine.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. Well, thank you, Rekha, for the introduction, and thank you for allowing me to present the audit. And I have a few items that I'll be covering. So I'll cover our audit firm and the engagement team, the deliverables, the scope of the audit, our audit methodology, areas of primary audit risk, the auditor's reports, and some slides on the financial statements, a few slides on required communications, and then lastly, just covering some new accounting standards to be implemented this upcoming year. Just a little bit about us. I mean, we were working with the district for a long time, but we have about 25 years of audit experience, all in governmental agencies. We're about 21 special districts, 30 employees currently, and no lawsuits, legal or disciplinary actions. As far as the engagement team, I was the engagement, sorry. I was the engagement partner. We had a quality control reviewer who was the president of the firm, Ahmed Badawi. Saleh Yassin was our audit manager. We had our IT specialist that actually did participate in the audit this year due to the ERP implementation. So he did have a look at the implementation and kind of double check things on our behalf. And we had two audit staff assisting with the audit, Ziad Mustafa and Cheng Yang. As far as deliverables, so as Rekha mentioned, this year the district issued an annual comprehensive financial report.
as far as our deliverable, we issue an opinion on those financial statements. Our responsibility on other information in the report varies. So even though there are additional pieces to the financial statements, those pieces are not considered to be audited, but we do look at them and make sure they're consistent with the financial statements. We also issue a report on the Measure F1 financial statements. Also this year, the district had a single audit, which is an audit of the federal award, since you did receive a grant from the county, which is the ARPA funding. So we did have that to complete. That audit is spending a few items, so we will be issuing that hopefully in the upcoming a week or so. We also help the district or assist the district with the state controller's report, and we also issue a letter covering the required communications that are part of the presentation. Just to cover, what's the difference between basic financial statements and the annual comprehensive financial report. The basic financial statements are the minimum requirements set by the Government Accounting Standards Board, which would include the financial statements, the management discussion and analysis, obviously the financial statements themselves, the note disclosures, and then there's some required supplementary information that gets included for budget and pension and OPEB. You do have supplementary information that can be included, but that is optional. As far as the annual comprehensive financial report, it's much broader. Obviously, it would include everything required by GASB. It's also designed to provide additional information about the government to the public, which would include introductory information to give context about the organization and management. There's statistical information at the end, which provides 10-year trend data on the financials, demographic data, debt information, and other information that kind of gives some context about the history of your organization. Also, in addition, there's more supplementary information that's required, but the requirement comes from the requirement of an ACFR, which are set by the Government Finance Officers Association. If you so choose, you can submit the ACFR to the GFOA for an award. And I believe the CSMFO, just like the budget award, they also have a similar ACFR kind of award that you can submit to. As far as audit methodology, our audit method is essentially kind of standard with the audit industry. It's performed in 4 stages. There's a planning phase where we gather information about the organization, get updates. We do our interim phase in the summer just to get an idea about your organization, get updates about internal controls. We looked at the implementation of the new accounting system this year. The year-end phase, essentially when we test your accounting balances. And then lastly, there's a reporting phase where we actually issue all our reports. As far as the areas of primary audit risk, so as part of the audit, we do evaluate risks, and then we have to design audit procedures to address those risks. The risks that I'm mentioning here are standard risks, so not to be alarmed of anything that we found. And it's kind of a tricky kind of concept to explain, because I often get asked, well, what can we do to kind of get rid of these risks? And I have to explain, well, you can't ever get rid of them. They will always be inherent in just how internal controls work. So the first risk here is management override of controls. So management essentially have the ability to not follow their own policies and procedures. So we're required to address that risk. Not to go over every single bullet point here, but just to point out a few things. So we will look at manual adjustments made to the financial statements through journal entries. We also look at accounting estimates for bias. If there were any unusual transactions that are not consistent with your government's kind of operation, we would kind of question that, get more information. We also do a variety of fraud inquiries to all the management and staff. Secondly, there's a risk of improper revenue recognition. The standards essentially identify revenues as a very significant line item in your financial statements. So they kind of expect us to do additional audit procedures for that. We do a lot of confirmations and validation work on those revenues. We also do a testing of fees, and we also do a lot of analytical procedures. Lastly, estimates. These are the significant estimates in your financial statements. So your capital assets, useful lives, pension, and OPEB rely on actual estimates, which we evaluate and kind of consider as part of our audit. And looking at the audit opinion, so this year we did the audit with some additional standards because this year we did have to do a single audit, which requires us to do additional audit procedures and follow additional audit rules. So in addition to the generally accepted auditing standards, we also perform the audit in accordance with government auditing standards that are supplemental to the generally accepted auditing standards. And then we also perform the audit in accordance with the uniform guidance, which is the essentially tells us how we need to audit the federal awards. We issued an unmodified opinion, which means that the financial statements are all fine and significant accounting policies have been consistently applied. Estimates are reasonable, and the disclosures in the financial statements are correct and accurate and complete. Moving on to some financial slides. This is looking at the government-wide financial statements. So government financial statements are a bit unique. They have two sets of financial statements, government-wide and fund-level financial statements. The government-wide financial statements are consolidated and also include long-term items such as capital assets and long-term liabilities. Looking at the assets over the past 3 years, you can see that significant changes include changes in restricted cash as you're spending down your bond proceeds. Also capital assets as you're building those additional projects, those are growing. As far as liabilities and deferred inflows of resources, no significant changes here. You do see that one bump in your current portion of long-term debt, and there was that 1 year where you had to make a large payment on your bonds, which is effectively that's what it is. But otherwise, no significant changes in your liabilities. Moving on to slide 19. This is net position, just another word for equity, which is your assets minus your liabilities. Equity or net position is classified into 3 items: net investment, capital assets, restricted and unrestricted. Net investment is in capital assets is like it's like your equity in your home. It's just your capital assets less debt. No significant changes this year. You did have a large increase last year. Otherwise, no other significant changes. Your unrestricted net position did go positive this year, which is not a common thing these days because all governments report their liability in pension and OPEB, which are quite significant and are also long-term. So it's not unusual to have a negative unrestricted net position, but to be in the positives is a good thing. This slide just comparing the net cost of service, which are your program expenses minus your program revenues, and comparing that to your tax revenues, just to see if your taxes will be sufficient to cover your net cost of service. So this year you did have an increase in your net cost of service, which was primarily due to increases in payroll expense with the management and then also your recreation services, and also increases in pension expense. And your tax revenues were consistent. Moving on, this is a slide on looking at the general fund and comparing your unrestricted fund balance to your annual expenditures. Also, I added this year the reserves, which are the 10 million cash flow reserve, and then the uncertainty reserve. So the Government Finance Officers Association recommends that you have at least 2 months of unrestricted fund balance available in case of emergencies. You can see from the slide, consistently, you've been at about 7 months of reserves and unrestricted fund balance. So that's essentially a good sign as well. Just moving on to a couple more financial slides. This is a sensitivity disclosure for your pension plan. Essentially, one of the significant assumptions that goes into measuring your net pension liability is discount rate. So the standards identify that and requires a disclosure to essentially give additional information to the reader that, what would be the number if the discount rate was 1% lower or 1% higher. And you can see here that you could have a liability of 45 million or about 20 million. You do report about 31 million in a liability, just for if someone was trying to evaluate a decision of, whether to provide financing or any other reason that they'll be looking at your financial statements, they can essentially do a what if analysis on what your net position could be. Similarly here, there's analysis for your net OPEB liability. You can see it's not as big of a swing when you're looking at OPEB, just because a retiree's insurance premium is going to be much smaller than their pension. So a discount rate change doesn't have that much of an impact. It does have an impact, but not as great as a pension. Just lastly here, there's some required communication slides. This is an important slide, especially when us as the auditors assist management in preparing the financial statements. Even though the final document comes out of our office, the final full document is not our report. I often get asked by board members or council members that, well, in your audit report, you have receivables of this amount, or you reported revenues of this amount. And I have to clarify to management, to the governing body, that those are not my numbers. Those are management's numbers. Those are management's information. Our report is essentially the audit opinion. So as far as our responsibility as auditors is to issue an opinion on those financial statements. Management are responsible for the financial statements and everything that goes in there. Our responsibility also includes independence. So we follow rules set by the AICPA and the state board. And essentially, other than preparing the financial statements, though we didn't perform any other activities that would impair our independence. So we would not be permitted to act as management, be employed at the district, be making adjustments without management's approval, having investments with the district, or a number of other things. But other than we are permitted to assist with preparing the financial statements. No issues with timing of the audit. As Rekha mentioned, we finished the audit on time this year. There were a couple of new accounting standards implemented this year. The most significant was GASB Statement 101, which essentially changes how the liability for your vacation and sick leave liabilities are measured. Previously, it was all based on what has a cash out value. Now management also needs to estimate how much sick leave or non-cash leave will be used. So that was a bit of an interesting implementation for a number of agencies, but otherwise, the second item didn't really apply. No difficulties in performing the audit. Naturally, we did have some audit adjustments, and management has recorded all of those audit adjustments and reflected in the financial statements. We didn't have any deficiencies in internal control that would be considered material weaknesses. As far as the new accounting standards, just a few items, luckily, to be implemented in the upcoming years. So GASB Statement number 103 will be a big one in some cases. So your financial statements will look a bit different. Also, there'll be more discussion about the budget and changes in the budget. So that will look a bit different. And then also GASB Statement 104 changes the disclosure for capital assets or adds some additional information. And then GASB Statement 105 essentially just updates some of the requirements for disclosure of subsequent events. And that concludes my presentation, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right. Thank you so very much. And congratulations on the findings to all of you. To my colleagues, any questions or comments?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you for the report. Of course, reading that much in detail, the report is always, it's daunting, but I mean, each of the areas that I see we're doing, I have questions, but that puts it for our finance team and understanding what your role in this is. I want to go back to the slide of the areas of primary audit risk and kind of, and looking, when you say, I think it's appropriate when, you know, somebody doesn't like oversight when you're, but I want to embrace that section. And when you look at these areas of primary audit risk, do you have, when, you know, us implementing our new ERP system and moving forward, is your recommendations in this section specifically to give more detail of like how we can, I want to even prove more how we can have the tools ahead of time to be able to look at our auditing and how we do that. So it's part of the audit process to give suggestions to our staff and these type of controls to, you know, be like I want more opportunity to look at ourselves internally. I mean, kind of how does that dialogue go?
Right. I mean, this is a bit of a tricky type of service that we are expected to, you know, provide recommendations when we do identify them. But essentially, our scope of the audit is really focused on the financial statements. So when we evaluate internal controls, it's really based on us identifying what are the material line items in the financial statements, kind of getting over an overall process of how do the numbers eventually get populated on the financial statements, through what process, what systems are involved. We kind of identify significant controls that are in there. Obviously, you know, we kind of compare them to what's best practice. Yeah. And then we kind of we don't do testing, but we do kind of pick a sample to make sure that those controls that we identified are actually occurring. So that's essentially our scope and what we're required to do. Obviously, if we identify, well, you know, someone is reviewing something, then it gets passed on to somebody else and they also review it, and then gets passed on to a third person, they also review it. And it's like, well, what is each person reviewing? And maybe use one person to review and approve it, or if there's anything else that seems redundant or outdated. With the new ERP system, obviously it was a kind of consideration of, well, how do you do things now? Are you now using the, you know, electronic approvals that are now embedded in there? So there is some a lot of changes and things you can take advantage of in the new system.
Yeah, great. That's good.
Good.
I have kind of a general, more of a general question. Recently, neighboring agency found a $30 million deficit in their budget. And I'm sure they do audits and all of that. And I'm just wondering, without knowing that thing, this type of audit report should prevent that kind of a surprise. Am I right? Or is that's the purpose of this audit? Hopefully that would never happen here.
Like a budget deficit where your revenues were estimated to be short of what your annual.
Yeah, significantly. Yeah.
Not necessarily, because our audit is essentially focused on what actually occurred, and essentially auditing if that's actually what occurred or not, and there's nothing there. As part of the audit, we are required to do an evaluation of a going concern. So we do look at financial condition to a certain degree, but it's really it's just a 12-month projection from the date of our audit. So obviously, if we did look at the financial statements and you had a negative fund balance in there, or you had essentially a fund balance to operate for maybe just a few months every year, and you're still relying heavily on, then we may have a going concern. Yeah. But as far as looking at auditing the budget, that's not necessarily part of the scope of the audit.
Yeah, well, I mean, some of these are political decisions that were done without being fully aware of the implications, and then maybe things out of their control as well. But I just, you know, I mean, the point of this audit and these audits is that it kind of identifies red flags where hopefully that sort of thing doesn't happen, where we get a warning way ahead of time. Sorry.
I think what I'd like the finance director to take part in this question, if that's okay.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Jim. The the fact that we bring quarterly reports to you,
Yeah.
that is the indication of where we are trending. As Mitesh is saying, the audit is a backward-looking
Yeah,
process,
right.
and the budget is the forward-looking one. And every quarter, that is what
Yep.
will show you, are we trending in the right way or not, or is there a problem appearing?
Right. I mean, ultimately, it's political decision makers, fault if something like that happens. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
I agree, I think, but the information that elected officials get from staff, they have to be able to trust, and they have to get it and get it in a timely manner and consistently. And I think that's part of why another agency might have a problem. We're bringing you it quarterly. And then we're having our auditing firm come in and say, everything you do, like bringing this forward quarterly, like all your practices are good, right? So she's going to tell you how much money we have, and he's going to tell us if we're managing and handling our money properly and in accordance with the law, right? Is that pretty much?
Right, to
Yeah.
a certain degree.
Okay.
Right.
That's it.
Okay. Well, I'm satisfied with the report. It looks very good. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
And who's your team that's here? They're just hanging out with you today, this year?
Oh, no, I'm on my myself, right?
No, you came on your own.
No, I mean, my team was on the chart, so a lot of credit to them as well.
Yes, absolutely appreciate them. Director Hodges, anything you wanted to add to the discussion? Or
No,
have a question?
after about 20 years working here, it's so impressive what's developed as far as finances and finances that are easy for the public to read and the board. So just keep up the good work. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. That was well said. I really do. Thank you for all of the investigation. And of course, thank you to the team for all of the really great work. Thank you so much. We need a motion to accept this fabulous work.
I'll move to accept.
Okay, thank you.
Well, second 9.1.
Okay, thank you. Barring any further discussion or compliments, we will move to the vote. Okay,
See you again. Thank you.
Thanks.
all right, and that carries unanimously. Again, many thanks to all. Congratulations.
Let's split. Yeah. Guys,
Um,
not happy.
But we're happy to see you.
Thank you, guys.
So we'll let folks move. Have a great rest of the day. Thank you, everybody.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I said thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it.
So as mentioned earlier, 9.2 and 9.3 have been tabled for future meeting. That's Bidwell and the Imperial Dade West contract, proposed contract. And so we move to 9.4, which is design services for the restrooms.
Good evening, Honorable Board. Megan Tiernan, Capital Planning and Development Director. So this afternoon, we are asking the board to consider award of a task order to Calendar Associates, their landscape architects on our on-call list, for the park restroom replacement project. This is part of one of the accelerated projects that the board approved for Measure F1 bond funding. We solicited proposals from a selected group from our on-call list, and Calendar Associates was one of three that provided a proposal, and upon review, we decided they were the best fit for this particular project. There's a list of the restrooms that we intend to replace in the staff report. So there's 9 in total. Some are full replacements. It may be possible to rehab 1 or 2 of them, and then 2 are brand new. So those locations are Parsons Park and Via Toledo. This will probably be 3 separate bid packages because permitting needs to be done by different agencies. But we're hoping to fast track the Via Toledo and Parsons Park restroom. So that'll be the third but first project to go out. So with that, staff is recommending that the Board of Directors by motion authorize the general manager to approve a task order with Calendar Associates for the execution of the park restroom replacement project. And that concludes my report, and I'm available for questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions on that? Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks, Megan, for the report. So thanks for the clarification on this. So this will be 3 separate board actions, not now, but in the future. So this is just for design.
I hadn't thought about that. So possibly we need different permit sets from the city and the county. But it may be possible for us to bid those 2 together.
Okay.
We'll look into that a little further.
It's a little timing thing. So, and I just get an overall. So this whole CIP has 4.6 total in it, correct?
Yes,
so
correct.
The 542 would come out of that. And so, just a general question about the scope of this project, that wonderful we're doing it because this is such an impactful project. But as I always look at the 250,000 per restroom, I mean, substantial savings to this. Or like, is it by putting these all together in a package? I mean, do we have a kind of
The savings so far is in consolidating and bundling the projects.
Yeah.
We don't know yet if there will be a discounted price on the restrooms themselves, but that'll be one of the next steps.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Yes, Director.
Nothing to say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. If there's no other,
Might I pipe into Director Hatcher's question? I think the efficiencies and the savings in these projects come from bundling them and then not having to have staff go back and one them off. So I don't know if someone's gonna say, we'll give you 10% off because we're doing 9 restrooms for you. But I definitely know that the consolidation of the projects will save staff time and money, which gets paid out of the bond. So at the end, yes. Thank you.
thank you. Is there a motion on this item?
Yeah, I'll move 9.4.
Okay, thank you. And do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you, Director Hodges. And I am supportive of this motion and really appreciate the creativity of, we needed to add more to a very full set of plates. But I think, as Director Hatcher said, this is very impactful and is exciting to see these moving forward. So thank you for that. And with that, I will call for the vote. And that passes unanimously. So thank you for that. And that takes us to 9.5, which is the custodial supply purchase order for our current vendor.
Good afternoon, Honorable Board and President Lamden. Today I asked for the board to consider adopting a resolution to authorize the general manager to increase the purchase order for Waxy Sanitary Supply, which is our who we have been using for our custodial supplies. We have went out for solicitation for custodial supply services and during the transitional period, and to ratify the past expenditures this fiscal year, we're asking that you adopt the resolution to authorize up to and not to exceed $99,000 for our current expenditures and to get us through the transitional time. Yep.
President Lamden, as a point of order, I'm wondering if if we make the recommendation, if we can increase that amount by $20,000, please, because of the recent protest of our bid. So we would be asking you actually to approve an amount of $120,000, not $99,000 for the maximum expenditure on the PO.
Yep.
Thank you for anticipating my question. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, just the procedural thing. It's the agenda says 99. Is that gonna matter?
Yeah, the agenda says, the staff recommendation is $99,000 to cover it, but in conversations today, when we found out that we need to go back and look at the RFP and the vendors for the custodial RFP that we extended the wax EPO, or we didn't extend the wax EPO because we thought the RFP would come in and we'd award. So we realized that from the time of the award until the time the contracting's done, we probably needed to throw some more dollars into this contract. Now I'm worried, I fear that it's going to get extended a little longer, so I'd like to change the recommendation to $120,000 from staff to you as you consider the item. I think we can do that, following the rules of order. So if we go to 120, that does, and the best thing about POs does not mean we're going to spend it all. We just want authority because at the end of the day, I was worried about this thing goes sideways and we come back to you in 2 months and ask you for more money on this. And we try to look better than that. So we'd request that the recommendation that you consider as you look at the report becomes $120,000, Director Andrade.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to move based on that explanation.
Move as amended?
Hmm.
Lou, to move as amended?
As amended, yeah.
Okay,
For the 120,000, yeah.
okay. Thank you. Do I have a second on that?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay. That's fine. Any further discussion? Okay, then we'll go to the vote. Thank you. And that is approved at 120,000.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that takes us to other business. Any reports from my colleagues and from staff, but we'll start with my colleagues. Director Hodges, any reports?
No, I don't have anything to say,
Okay.
but I just, actually, I want to thank the ladies that have put this board together tonight. It took a little bit of tooling and they did a great job.
Absolutely. Cheers to the team. And
And
thank
I
you for being
promise,
here.
yeah, and I promise I'll be in the hole next time.
That's all right. Just heal well. That's the
And
goal. That's your homework.
Hope you're doing well.
Thank you.
Just for the record, Director Hodges, we want to thank Hay for staying around tonight and helping us figure this out. I mean, he's not in the room. He must be waiting for us to yell, hey, hey, but he's not here now.
All right. I appreciate him. Thank you. Okay. Director Andrade.
I have nothing to report.
Okay.
Activities.
All right. Thank you. Director Hatcher.
Well, I did have the honor to receive a phone call to attend the Hayward Youth Commission due to the Director Lamb and Hodges unable to attend that night. So again, great to be in front of the Youth Commission. They talked about their successful makers event that they had at San Felipe. Some of the vendors completely sold out. It was energetic. It was a sales opportunity for the youth to kind of see a variety of ways to sell and to talk about it. And there was music and good energy there. So it was well talked about. I did get up and speak and handed out our new guides, talked about the scholarship opportunities, timing of getting into our programming. So it was pretty, exciting to be able to talk about that. And I also handed out a little bit of information on the Foothill Trail coming up, the community meeting, and just really what it means for us to have, trails and open space in our community, and talked about that's what a lot of folks are looking for from our surveys, and that they're our advocates always. And I did, because it was brought up by Jen in regards to the end of the year celebration that they will have, and that there was indication that they may be able to get up and utilize the ropes course at the Rowell Ranch Radio if that was an opportunity for them. But good commission meeting, always solid.
Yes, thank you for jumping in at the last minute. I appreciate that. And yeah, the Makers Fair was delightful and really inspiring. The Button Boys were doing amazing things. The crocheting, the I don't know, so many different things were being sold. And every time we have youth commission interviews, they talk about wanting to have youth entrepreneurship highlighted. And so between this event and the work that the Chamber has been doing with Biz Kids, it's just really exciting to see what our community has asked for coming to fruition. In so many ways we do that, but this was another one of those, and it was fantastic. So that is all I have to report. I turn it over.
Take a cake. President Lamnin, honorable directors, James Wheeler, general manager for the Hayward Area Recreation and Park District. I have told you most of these things in one-on-ones this week, but I would like to iterate some of them for the record. So our standing committees schedule from fourth Thursday has changed a little bit. So our capital outlay committee meeting will be on February 25th at 3:45. That meeting will now be on fourth Wednesdays at that time, unless we have a wonky month or week. Our personnel committee meeting will be on February 26th at 4 p.m. That is now going to be a fourth Thursday meeting at that time. Our finance and program and policy meetings will both take place on the 24th. So those meetings will remain on the fourth Tuesday, with program and policy at 3:45 and finance at 5 o'clock. And I just wanted to put that on our record in case anyone watches this YouTube or the video later. As I had previously indicated, on the 10th, I had a meeting with capital and planning, parks, HUSD, and we got the Sunset Field project kind of talked out and getting ready to go on its way, and the Stonebury renovations getting ready to go forward. So we've had some cooperation, had the right players there. There's a new facilities maintenance director. I wish I could remember his name. He goes by Kiwi. And so we got to talk to him, which was very exciting too. And of course, Amy Nichols from the HUSD is just refreshing in her role as the assistant superintendent business manager, I believe. On the 10th, I also had another meeting with the city of Hayward. And actually that meeting was, I think my notes say monumental, because that meeting was myself and the assistant city manager, Thomas, and then department heads, Mary, Sarah Boozer, Todd Rudman. We had the crew from the city of Hayward in charge of some of those departments that we interact with a lot, in a meeting with our recreation, Nicole, our capital and planning, our parks. I don't think we had finance in that meeting. Oh, you were? I'm sorry, Reka. Reka was in that meeting too. They didn't have finance in that meeting, but we did. But they have Mary who's looking over that now. So that was a great meeting, and we plan on having those every other month. So that was pretty exciting for me. I told you that we have requested county impact fees for the improvements to a park section of Laurel School. I think I want to make sure I don't. As you received in an email this week, we were awarded not one but two statewide awards from CPRS, which I have to say, probably of all the stuff on our wall across the room and everything, these awards to me are probably the bigger ones. They're highly competitive. And we not only got one for facilities for the Ashland Ridge Center, we received one for programming for Weeks Camp Create, the arts camp. So it was very exciting. Congratulations to Capital and Planning and to Recreation for programming. Two more things to tell you. Well, one, today I attended an Education City meeting. We were invited officially into the Education City committee along with 4Cs. So now we're truly starting to look at kind of cradle to through career and beyond. As I had indicated previously to you and what I had been trying to tell them for a while now, I got to state today, which is if you wanted to be beyond just the biggest education city in the country and focus, which I believe they kind of are right now, If you wanted to be complete, you'd include out of school time, our camps and programs. And I reminded them that our camps, every camp has some element of STEM in it, that we have a Shoreline Interpreter Center. We worked with the HUSD fifth grade teachers to develop the sea level rise and climate change displays. We're working on raising funds for $10 million improvement to the Sulphur Creek Nature Center. We have after school enrichment and other programs. I reminded them about summer nature deficit disorder and kids going backwards who don't have summer opportunities. And so I really, with the agricultural center, I just really try to remind them that out of school time is our time and we're still educating people in that. And so thank you for allowing us to be part of the Education City model, because I think our model is pretty good in regard to what we're doing in that area right now. I will be out of the office Tuesday through Friday, but we'll be in touch. I will be at a national conference, and then the final is on February 24th, the 7 p.m. City Council meeting. We will be presenting our annual report to the City Council. It's 2 years into the MLA. We're supposed to do an annual report, and City Manager Ott was kind enough when I brought it up to immediately schedule us. So we get about a half hour. I'll get up and present Tales from the Park side, kind of related to mostly to Hayward, focusing on a lot of the completed in progress and capital projects. A ton of the equitable and programming we're doing. And of course, we'll look at the park evaluation standards and the scores from that to kind of give them an idea of what we've been doing for the last couple of years. We'll have a couple slides that'll show our finances. So we're putting that together, and we'll probably send it over sometime next week for them to get out to everybody on the council. And when we do that, we'll make sure we send you all a copy too. And I think that's it. Thank you.
Just one thing to jump in real quick. I just wanted to, again, appreciate the work behind the scenes to make the meetings that you mentioned, Jim, happen, and also the joint meeting with our capital team, their infrastructure team. Really, we did do that too. And, really appreciate this, this collaborative work. And thank you for all of that.
Thank you. I think the conversations that happen after the joint city infrastructure and airport committee, hard capital outlay committee, the conversations with staff and people, I think I told you I was so happy I took Friday off. It's been a long time coming. We've worked really hard on improving these relationships. They've been committed to it also. And I think the fruits of our labor, I got to be honest, you could ask these people. I've probably been different all week. I just feel better about how it's going right now. I feel like we've gotten the school district and we're cooperating better. We're talking about helping them with events and the renovations of certain sites, the city. I believe that the public works director said that we should let park do the park development, which was a big statement in that meeting for us. And so, yeah, thank you for pointing that out. It was very gratifying after a long time of just trying to figure out how we could all communicate better.
Hello, Adrienne Lee Bird, Director of Recreation, Arts and Community Services. In addition to the Makers Fair, Makers Market, we actually also had a teen event last Friday at Sorensdale Community Center with 40 teens. It was a free event, and they did a bake-off. They decorated cakes that looked like tacos, and they had a really, really good time. And then we have a couple events this weekend for Valentine's Day. Tonight is Love in the Animal Kingdom at Sulphur Creek Nature Center. And tomorrow we have Stella Heath at the Douglas Morrison Theater. We also have a new, almost like a babysitting service, Parents Night Out for Valentine's Day, so they can drop off their kids. And tomorrow's theme is arts. So they're going to be doing art projects, and families can go either out to the theater and catch the show or go out to dinner. And that's all I have for now. Thank you.
Megan Tiernan, Capital Planning and Development Director. Our next meeting for the Foothill Trail from A Street to Grove will be Saturday, February 21st from 10 a.m. to noon at the Hayward Area Senior Center. It's a drop-in style meeting. And then construction's continuing on the Hayward Plunge, Mount Eden Park renovation, Ashland East 14th, and I forgot one. I said the Plunge, Ashland, Mount Eden.
Mount Eden.
We'll remember and get back to you.
Mount Eden is awesome.
That's it.
Send us an invite. We'll get there.
Good evening, honorable members of the board. Dwayne Taylor, Parks and Facilities Maintenance Director. We have 2 RFPs that we're working on right now. They're both going to really help our operations. One being pest control. So this is like for ground squirrels in the buildings, such as the community centers, for like road pests. So like insects, mice, things like that. And we're also working on one for vegetation management, which around here is more commonly referred to as the goats. We're going out for a new a bid for that. But one thing I would like to mention is that we've been looking at alternatives to accessing or really performing like vegetation abatement in some of our difficult sloped areas. And one of the things we're looking at is a product that we're receiving from Garden Land, who's a large grounds and landscaping vendor in the Bay Area. So they have access to a array mower, which is for mowing on slopes. And so and this is an autonomous piece of equipment. So we're going to try that. We're going to pilot this to see how the piece of equipment uses. Yeah, literally. But we're going to, so right now we use goats at Mission Hills Golf Course, actually. So this is an area we'd like to just try it out and see how it performs and see if this could be something that we integrate into our operations on a more long-term basis. And that's it for me today.
Good evening, honorable members. We are neck deep in budgets and having a good time with all the other departments. So that's all from me. Thank you.
I love how finances describe a good time.
I do. Good evening, President Lambden and Honorable Board of Directors. We have a bunch of fun stuff here. So San Lorenzo opening will be on March 27th. Hard at 3:00. Yep. So we'll arrive at 3. The program will start at 3:30. The hard happenings are being mailed out to our dignitary list. So we're excited to share all that great information. CPRS, we also got awards at CPRS District 3. So the awards and installation for that is February 26th from 11 to 2. So we'll email that out and get an RSVP in Pleasant Hill. Yes. So it'll be in Pleasant Hill, but we can take a van out that way. So I'll work on scheduling that. And then, of course, our CPRS awards. So lots of fun stuff. We might need more shelves.
What a nice problem to have. All right. Well, congratulations again. Anything else? Okay. Well, with that, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Hodges.
Well, thank you for letting me come.
I think you can leave now. So they can shut things down.